Welcome to Rosslyn Hill Unitarian Chapel, a spiritual home for open minds. I'm Reverend Kate Dean, and I am proud to serve as the minister for this spiritual community here in Hampstead. Welcome to our Unitarian Christmas Day service. This is a short service of music and words, which will be followed by a Zoom call, so you're very welcome to join us directly after the service to share your Christmas greetings with everyone. You can find the link in our weekly update or via the Connect heading in the YouTube description. We begin our service by lighting our chalice flame, the symbol of our liberal religious faith, which we Unitarians celebrate as our freedom to follow our own individual spiritual path in the company of like-minded others, as we are reminded of the divine spark in us all. May this flame be as the light of knowledge in our minds and the warmth of love in our hearts. Our first reading is by Howard Thurman. I will light candles this Christmas, candles of joy despite all sadness, candles of hope where despair keeps watch, candles of courage for fears ever present, candles of peace for tempest-tossed days, candles of grace to ease heavy burdens, candles of love to inspire all my living, candles that will burn all year long. And so now, honouring our Christian heritage, we light our 4 Advent candles, representing hope, peace, love, and joy. And since this is Christmas Day, we light our central white candle, representing purity and holiness. And now we will hear a little more music.
Away, oh manger,
Our next reading is Christmas Sonnet by Isabel Gehr. Oh, fill your heart with fantasy and song. This is the time to dream and not inquire if it be true, but let our deep desire inflame our vision, make it glad and strong. To soar beyond our want, it's far from wrong. To seek release, the year's demands conspire against our natures, till our souls require the melodies and myths of ages long. The moon is full, the wind sings in the trees, bright mountains call, and clouds and fairies dance. Ideals unborn and dreams half-caught await, and we can choose what we shall make the keys to life. Shall love and joy and peace enhance the fantasy made true as we create. Let us now gather in prayer, a reflection on the value of this winter season by Reverend Cliff Reed. God of the circling year, we who thank you for spring's new life, summer's warmth, and autumn's fruitfulness, come to you now in winter. We appreciate the charm of sparkling frost and gentle snowfall, the special pleasures of the season. But we are conscious also of its misery and suffering. Sometimes its darkness and cold oppress us. We grieve at the hardship and the death it brings. Then we find it hard to be grateful for winter. Show us its necessity. Give us the vision to see why it must be. Let us learn its lessons, hear how it speaks to us of life concealed and wonders yet to come. Help us to bear its gloom. Make us ready to help those for whom its burden is too great. May its hidden promise of rebirth kindle our hope and show us the way. We give thanks for the winter, for its elusive beauties and warm fellowship. We give thanks for what it reveals about our nature and for its opportunities to use the love you give us. Amen. Today we feel the spirit of Christmas. As the annual cycle of the year turns again, time is passing and we mark this like a stake in the ground. Eileen Carpelles writes that it is not by accident that the religious calendar closely matches the celestial calendar, for our very bones and breath are tied into the movement of the spheres, the waxing and waning of the seasons. While science gives us the explanation for why the days are so short and dark, our body feels the pull of orbits like inner tides. And this is confirmed when we read comments in Christmas cards, "Can't believe another year has flown by," and tiny tots last year seem to have shot up in height. And some of us might even detect a few more grey hairs. Perhaps this is a proper Christmas again, after the disappointments of not seeing loved ones last year. So it is not surprising if family on this day seem a little unfamiliar. Even in the best of years, we may only encounter them a few times a year. Or perhaps today is just like old times, a reunion of hearts and minds. Although it's important to maintain our connections, this can be difficult when loved ones are scattered far and wide, our movements restricted. And even more difficult when family members are scarce. At this time, we remember and think of those who are spending their first Christmas without someone they love. We can hold on to this Christmas season within us by giving what's good, giving our greetings, our love, our presents, of course, our opportunities for celebration. Christmas is the season of joy because it reminds us of the goodness that goodness is the best part of life, and that the innocence of a new baby brings the potential to bring the power of love into our lives. You might like to ask yourself what makes this day special for you. So let's take a few moments now to pause and reflect in the stillness. I suppose it is natural, especially if we're on the younger side, to think of the spirit of Christmas as being that of giving and receiving, especially receiving in the case of some of my young friends. Ancient counsel teaches us not to ignore the gifts that life presents us with, just because we don't recognize them as such. How many times do we stumble in life, yet a few months later we look back and think, if that hadn't happened, then this good thing might not have happened either. A gift we only recognize in hindsight. Perhaps it is the purpose of the Christmas spirit to press the pause button on our everyday lives and give us a chance to examine these gifts more closely. As we come together today across the boundaries of time and space, perhaps we can recommit ourselves to rediscovering the gifts that can create change for the better within our own lives and within the life of the world. In the poem BC AD, U.A. Fanthorpe considers that moment before and after. These days we might call it the birth of the Common Era, an event which is recognized beyond Christianity because of its historical significance. And at its heart is such a simple story, as Fanthorpe notes. And this was the moment when a few farm workers and 3 members of an obscure Persian sect walked haphazard by starlight straight into the kingdom of heaven. As Unitarians, we welcome people of religious and non-religious backgrounds alike into our places of worship, and we focus on what it is that connects us to each other. We are committed to the ideals of peace and justice for all people, and we celebrate life and love in all its forms. The eminent Unitarian Alfred Hall wrote, "People only do base deeds because they have mean ideals and ideas of themselves. Further, how noble they would be in action towards others if they accepted the early teaching that all men and women are the offspring of the Most High and are to be regarded as divine beings. Let this teaching be given trial, and humankind will soon witness at work the greatest moral dynamic the world has ever known." Unitarians like to view the world through a rational lens, but we can also recognize the miracle of life, the magic of an untamed universe, the spark of connection between people at Christmas time, which could reach out across the rest of the year. For if we thought of ourselves and each other as special and divine beings, wouldn't that help to create a more contented world? And so let us now celebrate, with millions around the world, the birth and the hope that came with it, the birth that makes this Christmas Day. Blessed be. And now for our closing blessing. On this day of wonder, may the spirit of joy and generosity fill our hearts and delight our senses. And may we find time today for gratitude and connection, however that may be. Blessed be, and amen.